Welcome to the Kingdom Man Podcast, where we discuss some of the hard topics facing men with a Christian perspective. I am your host, James Russell. Last week we discussed the topic of just do it, and we encouraged us men to not overanalyze things and to do what you already know that you're supposed to be doing. And today I want to piggyback on that thought as we talk about doing hard things. So my question is, what motivates you? Where do you find your motivation? I just listened to a podcast featuring Les Stroud, and he's the Survivor man. One of the things that motivates him, if you couldn't tell, was being outdoors. He loves being outdoors. But what was your thing? What gets you going? What do you jump out of bed to do? I can say that it's usually not something that makes you feel comfortable. I would say almost the opposite. Because if something makes you feel comfortable, then it's not something that motivates you. If you are satisfied with where you are, then are you really going to move forward? Is that something that once drives you to complete more? Finding comfort is nice, but none of the stories we grew up watching and hearing and loving were stories of comfort. Think about it. We weren't interested in King Arthur and the magical winter he spent in his castle, all nice and warm. We didn't want to know about that. We read the stories and heard the stories of the battles, the scars, the sword. We wanted to know the struggles that he faced and overcame. Those things is what we aspire to. Those are the things that we want to be. But those things are often what us men avoid. We fall into the trap of being comfortable. And I want to encourage you to avoid the trap of being comfortable. We need to find something that makes us feel alive, and comfort doesn't do that. Yes, it is okay to be comfortable. It's very nice to be comfortable. But those things aren't what really drives men. That's not what motivates you. You hope that someday you will have a life lived so that you can be in comfort and tell people about the life you lived. But that life that you lived is never worth telling when it was spent in bed, on a couch, watching TV. I worry about kids these days who they live their adventure through sitting on a couch playing a video game. Yeah, you have a type of adventure, but that's not something that you can really share. That's not something you're really going to remember. Yeah, I played that game, I completed that game, I'm done. And how does your life change from that? You've wasted hundreds of hours playing this game, winning. And what have you gained? You've gained nothing. To quote John Eldredge from his book Wild at Heart, he says, "Men want a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue." We hear fight, adventure, and a beauty to rescue. Those are all action words. You can't do any of those things by sitting on your couch. You can't do any of those things while watching Netflix. It takes getting up and getting after it. And none of those things are about being comfortable. We say that we want things, but at what cost? How far will you be really willing to go? If we go back to our last discussion, if you want six-pack abs, that's great. We probably all do. I can pretty safely say that we all do. But what are you willing to sacrifice for them? Because it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time and energy. It may not be monetarily, but, well, unless you go back to the old time is money, it's going to cost you something. Anything worth having is going to cost you something. So what are you willing to sacrifice? What do you really want out of this life? It's going to take energy. It's going to take time. What do you want? I think about this, and it's been on my mind for weeks. I know my grandfather, he's having a hard time sleeping, so it's a strange story. So he's moved from his bedroom to multiple bedrooms to actually out in like a living room area. He's moving an air mattress. He's changing all kinds of things so he can sleep better. But my question is, what will help you actually sleep better? Being comfortable or being tired? And a lot of us think that having more comfort is actually what's going to help us sleep better. And it does. It helps. But it's not necessary. You can find tons of pictures of men in the army. You can hear their statements where they talk about it doesn't matter where they sit. If they sit long enough, they're going to fall asleep. It doesn't matter the position. It doesn't matter the location. They could be sitting on the deck of a boat and they're getting sprayed by water from the waves and they're out. You think they're comfortable? No. But they're tired. They've exerted energy. They've done something to wear their body out, so it doesn't matter where they are, they can sleep. Comfortable is nice, but it's not necessary. And one of the key components to our mental health and physical health is having good quality sleep. But how many of us are putting good quality effort into our work? How many of us are actually getting tired from what we do or putting enough energy into something? I'm not talking about mentally tired. I mean physically tired. When was the last time that you just fell asleep in any particular location? Because why? You were tired, not because you were comfortable. Doing hard things will make you tired. But it is also something that will get you out of bed. I know there's a lot of people who have a hard time getting out of bed because they're comfortable. They have a hard time getting to sleep because they're comfortable. We go through life and we wander along trying to find the most amount of comfort that we can find, when comfort is actually not something that we really want. Men want a battle to fight, an adventure to live, a beauty to rescue. And when we come across a battle and we're unprepared, we don't fight. And we come up to an adventure and we're unprepared, we don't live it. And when we come up to a beauty that needs to be rescued and we're unprepared, we don't rescue. Men, we need to be prepared. We need to put in the hard work and then see how much your life changes. But what is that number? What are you willing to invest? How beautiful is she that you would really fight to win her? Because it's going to cost you something. And even more so for you married men, how much are you willing to fight to keep her? Not fight with her. Fight for her. We fall into this trap of thinking, as young men do, that once I get married, it's going to be great from there. I've won. I've got her attention. I've got her to promise to marry me, and we get married. Happily ever after is a long way away. We stopped fighting for her. And I wonder why we lose sleep. We stop doing hard things. We play it conservatively. And I wonder why we have a hard time sleeping. Doing hard things will help you sleep, but it'll also get you out of bed. What does that mean? It means it gives you a purpose. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning, a goal. I don't particularly like doing big projects, but when I have a big project to do, I want to get it done. I have this plan in my mind. This is how I want to do it. And I get up and I get going. My wife's wanting to slow down. She was wanting to go get coffee and do breakfast. At that point, I'm already ready to go. I don't even drink coffee. I don't need that. And once I get into something, I don't need food. I want the satisfaction of accomplishing my goal. And I fear that too many men don't have that drive anymore because they get used to what they do. They do the same things over and over again, and they fall into this trap of being comfortable. One of the things I've done in my life, I love framing houses. And having a construction background, I've had to do it several times. And the first several times, I did not like doing it. It was hard work because I didn't know what I was doing. But once I started to learn what I was doing, the reason I like it is not because it's easy work. It wears me out. I like framing houses because at the end of the day, there's a room where there wasn't a room before. There's a framed entrance for this door where there was no wall even before. There's a closet in a room that there wasn't even a room before. There was no closet. At the end of the day, I can look and see my progress. I'm tired. I'm beat up. I probably have a sore thumb from missing the nail and hitting it. That doesn't even matter at the end of the day because I can see what I've done. I fight for that feeling. That satisfaction. We have to be careful because there's this fine line that we have to battle with between contentment and satisfaction. You may be saying, well, what's the difference? And I don't have the definitions in front of me. Just knowing what I know and going through life as I have. The way I see the difference is contentment is happy with where you are. Okay. Satisfaction is happy with where you are, and I don't want to move further. I'm satisfied. I don't need more. Contentment is I'm happy with what I have, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stay here. Does that make sense? So I'm happy with this, but I know there's more ahead. Satisfied is I'm happy with this. I don't need more. Men, we need to be content. But we have to battle with the idea of being satisfied. I'm content with where I am as a man right now. I have gone through what I've gone through, which has led me to this moment, and I wouldn't change those things for my life. But am I satisfied? No, because I know there's more. I know there's more in me that needs to be pulled out. And I can't change what happens in the past, but I can change what happens in the future by battling for what I need and want for myself. And so can you. You need to battle for who you need to be instead of who you are. Be content with what led you to this point, but don't be satisfied so that you don't move the needle further. Be a better man tomorrow than you are today. Be a better father tomorrow than you are today. You can't change the past, but you can change your future by one step at a time. Be content, but don't be satisfied. Do hard things. The things that scare you are probably the best things that you can do. Now, I don't mean be stupid and jump out of a plane without a parachute. I'm not saying that in the least. But things that make you nervous. Public speaking apparently makes a lot of people nervous. That's why you need to do it. Step up in those situations. Whatever that situation may be, whatever gets your nerves going, we don't have the ability to distinguish with our feelings whether or not we're afraid because we're nervous or afraid because we're in a dangerous situation. Fight or flight kicks in, and we don't know what's going on. We get this feeling inside of us. We get all nervous. My ears get red, and I begin to get hot and flustered. And I know in that situation, am I really about to die? Well, no. Then this just makes me nervous. But the feelings that we feel is no different than if our lives are in peril. Our hearts begin to pump. We feel that adrenaline kick in. Our hands begin to shake. Those things, not the things that are going to kill us, but the things that make us nervous, are areas that we need to explore. To be better men. If it makes you nervous to talk to your wife about an important conversation like sex, money, children, guess what? That's probably something that you need to do, because it's not going to go away by itself. And those are the big three things that most marriages collapse over. Those are the big three fights. And if we can't talk to our wives about it, then we're more than likely are going to fall subject to it. And that is shameful. Just because we're nervous. Just because it doesn't make us feel comfortable. Men, fight the comfort. Fight the satisfaction. And do what you know you're supposed to do. Fight the battle. Live the adventure. Fight for the beautiful woman. I guarantee you, you can look back at your life and have stories worth telling. Stories that you cannot accomplish by just staying comfortable. Live the dream. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening into this conversation. Feel free to join us on our Facebook page, the Kingdom Man Podcast. You can find us there. Feel free to leave some notes, comments, questions there, and I'll be happy to address those in future episodes. Otherwise, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day. This is a little food for thought, and love you guys. We'll check back with you next week as we continue on to find out what it means to be a kingdom man.